First of all, thank you so much, Lottie and the NovaBuck team for having me and hosting me today. I've been looking forward to this one. This is a subject that is near and dear to me. I was a former product manager and really well into understanding what it means to be lean. And it's amazing. It's a surreal experience to be able to share my experience as a founder and how we're able to go to market as a lean team. I like my master classes interactive. So if anyone's got any questions at any point in time, please feel free to unmute yourselves, raise your hands. I do get conscious that I'm just talking into the void, but I know there are people out there. So yeah. So how did we grow from 0 to 3,000 users? We actually have 4,000 now from with zero capital. We had no budget whatsoever. And this is how we're able to stay lean, smart, and powered by AI. Okay. Like I said, I like my sessions interactive. And the first thing that we'll do is if you can please scan this QR code with your phones. I have a anonymized poll, and I just want you to answer a simple question, which is, how big is your team right now? I'll give you guys 2 minutes to just quickly answer the question via the poll. How big is your team right now? And Um, let's see the answers coming in. Okay, we've got 2, 4, solo founder. It's 2 of 10. There's more of those. 11 to 50. It's any more. I'll wait for like about 5 more to see where people are at. How big is your team right now? So we've got a couple of solo founders. We've got 9 between 2 to 10. We've got 1 from 11 to 50. Do we have anywhere that's less than 100 or 100 plus? So we've got 13 responses. I know there are 61 of you guys here. Come on, you can do it. I think I'm seeing more people coming in as well.
There's a couple comments in the chat as well.
What does it say?
We've got 7, 5. I think a few people are struggling with the sign up, so some people are putting their answers in the chat. We've got a 3 as well.
No problem. Okay. All right, so most of us are in this area, which is 2 to 10 people in our teams. Before I dive in, my name is Shen. I'm the co-founder of LaunchLemonade. I'm also an AI transformation consultant for medium-sized businesses, but also for enterprises. I'm a keynote speaker. I'm an AI trainer for teams and an AI coach as well for individuals. My mission is simple. No one gets left behind in the time of AI. And AI has really allowed me to actualize all these potentials. Before, I had a 9 to 5. My background is in fintech and financial services. The first AI big project that I delivered was in 2018. It took us 12 months to build. I had a team of 10 back then. And even though it took us a while to deploy back then, the minute that it went live, increased our resolution rates by 20%. And from then on, I delivered a lot of big data projects for the companies that I worked for, eventually managed a team of 30, delivered a lot of decisioning projects, and eventually founded LaunchLemonade. And the reason why we built LaunchLemonade is when the language models came out, I realized, wow, it's so cheap to build AI solutions now. And that's why we're here. So this is proof that I am still building relationships. I'm not on just my laptop working endlessly. And that's how, like a testimonial to how powerful AI is it allows you to grow and expand your offerings. Okay. Can anyone guess, or no, tell us, what are your current challenges in terms of growing or going to market? What are your existing challenges? I've got five that I'll reveal as the top five. I mean, there's a lot of challenges why businesses aren't able to grow, but I want to know from your perspective, what are your current challenges in terms of going to market or growing your business or finding more customers and users? You can type it in the chat. What are your existing biggest challenges in terms of finding customers or finding users or growing your business? Deciding going to business or individuals, yes, that was a problem that we had. Reach and awareness is a common problem. Hard to get customers when you don't have credibility. This is a good one. Customer outreach, money, going for investment or focus on bootstrapping, niche customer segment. Yes, that's a true problem. I can relate to this problem. Product market fit. Yes, we're all trying to get to product market fit. Where to start with an automated reach out, lead generation warm up, and then management of that funnel. This is a good problem. So if you already have the basics and your problem is automation, this is a good solvable problem. Engagement and conversions. Yes, we hit the spot on some of these. So the ones that I've identified here are getting, and this was my problem when we launched in 18 months ago, I think, getting first users, not having enough time to find customers and convert them, no budget, unsure how to use AI and automating, and building the right team. These were problems that we definitely have. And in some ways, we still have. Definitely that we are consistently solving with AI. We've gotten more answers here, focusing on the right customer, product market fit, the client taking too much time to make a decision. Yes, especially for high ticket offerings. Okay, so Launch Lemonade is a bootstrap startup, and we are two co-founders. We have no full-time employees. We launched in our MVP in January 2024. We incorporated in March. We have had zero funding. So even from ourselves, we haven't invested capital in apart from kind of like the initial website that we built. But currently, we have over 12,000 AI assistants and agents already built on the platform. We've converted 10% of our users to sales. Our current MRR on the platform alone, excluding our other revenue streams, is at $11,000. It's not a lot, but we've been able to grow that on top of what we're already doing. And there's no one in the team. We don't have any team members apart from us, apart from me going to market. But we do have a strategy. And what's our strategy? AI teammates. So this has been the back AI and automation and augmentation has been the backbone of our growth so far. More questions. I told you, I like it interactive. How are you guys using AI right now? I'd love to hear from someone in the group. There's 66 of you here. I'd love to hear, is there anyone using AI right now? And I'd love to hear how you're using it. You can unmute yourselves, or if you're feeling shy, well, I'd love to hear from someone. But you can also type it in the chat. How are you using AI right now?
Hey, for video creation, so I have a content creation agency and we use it for our editing.
So editing, is it Adobe that you're still using?
No, so we actually use various tools, but we use CapCut and we also use Opus Clip and a few others, but Opus Clip is really good for like clipping long form content into short form content.
I love that. I use CapCut. I did try Opus back then,
Yeah.
but I want to I might try it again if you recommend.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Hey,
Um,
just to jump in there, Ryan, would it be all right to do some user research on you, mate? We're actually coding an AI editor at the minute.
Yeah, for sure. So this
Thanks,
is
guys.
my social media. So I run a Vox Pops agency. So I'm, the guy that goes out in the street and does interviews. So we have a street interview agency, which is super, super niche.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
so yeah, I'm trying to grow my profile to like, I guess like a Simon Squibb type level,
That's
this is
amazing.
this is amazing. We're already bringing in leads together, and we haven't even started our master classes yet. Feel free to connect. Absolutely, drop your LinkedIn in the comment section.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we have Claude and coding here. Have you guys used um just the normal Claude, or did you get, what is that their new product called? Just on coding. I use Claude Opus 4 for coding and debugging. That's a really good use case for it. Captions for AI video, AI note taker, ChatGPT projects for comms, organic and Gen AI search optimizations. Amazing. So you guys are already using AI, but we're still, I think most of us are still thinking of them as tools rather than actually using them as a teammate. So how are we using AI as teammates right now? Because we are Cursor and Lovable are great as well. We use them as well. Because we're a very lean team, pretty much a team of none, we have been hyper focused on what we want to achieve, and that is revenue. I don't care about anything else. I want to make money. Yes, we are mission driven, but our mission won't be fueled if we don't have cash. And because of that hyper focus, I quickly identified all of the work streams that I need to augment using AI, because again, we have no money and we have no budget. So we started building AI teammates who helped us with legal, with growth, operations, strategy, and admin. Every tool that we tested, every build that we experimented on had to be aligned with revenue. So this is the first thing that I challenge you. If you're trying out a tool, if you're building something or experimenting something, it has to be tied with revenue. And because we've identified all these work streams, I'm going to show you an example. This is my framework. Have a really clear North Star. Is it growth? Is it users? And that was our first North Star metric. And then by having that clear metric and clear goal, you then identify the areas that you need to activate in order to help you achieve that goal. Okay, so as an example, we really leaned into AI in terms of growing our distribution channels. So in 1 week, I post 167 times. That's how much I leverage these channels as a very small team. Because we don't have a marketing budget, it was very important for us to be consistent and present in all of these channels. And this is just one stream of section in our business where we really leaned into AI, and we lean into AI in a lot of our business areas. So how do you build an AI teammate? When you're thinking about, okay, Shen, I get it. You're using a lot of AI. You've augmented yourself. The strategy of how we're able to not just identify areas of where to activate AI, but think about building teammates is we're using the same framework as when you're hiring another teammate, a real person. First, you write their job spec. What are their tasks? And think of it as hiring a junior or an intern. Really narrow tasks, really specific tasks, and then you interview them, right? So you've got your job spec ready, you know exactly what they want to do. Let's say you've interviewed them and you hired them. Once they're in the business, what are the things that they need to learn in order to perform through that task? They need to learn your company mission, vision, values. They need to learn your handbook maybe, or your branding guidelines. So depending on what the teammate will do, you're going to onboard them with the right information, with the right knowledge, so that they can not just do the task, but do the task for your brand and be effective for your brand. And then you're going to give it time. You're going to train them. You're going to manage their output. You're going to review their output, and you're going to give them feedback. And then you're going to train them so that they improve over time. And then you equip them with tools in order for them to be able to complete their tasks. So when you're hiring someone, it's also the same as when you're thinking about building your AI teammate to allow you to grow and scale. Any questions on this slide?
There was a question in the chat. Sorry, just which channel did you use to post on 167 times in that week?
Across multiple channels. So mainly LinkedIn, Threads, and TikTok. When I was starting in January 2024, I had pretty much no online presence. I posted on LinkedIn maybe once a month. But when we started LaunchLemonade, and I also had my consulting business with zero budget, I knew that I had to get myself out there. So I actually started on Twitter. And on Twitter, I asked for feedback on my platform. I'll try your platform. You'll try my platform. We'll give each other feedback. That's how I started, and that's how we got onto got our first initial signups. Twitter isn't for me, so I was never able to grow to that in that channel actually. But LinkedIn worked, and TikTok was working as well. Not that I became ever viral on TikTok, because I was quite early on talking about AI on TikTok. The influencers started noticing me and talking about me and my product. So those two channels have been really good. More recently, Threads is also a good channel, so I've been posting more on there. So yeah, those are the channels that I posted in. Okay, so all right, we're only 20 minutes in, and I think I'm ready for my demo of how I go on about building my AI teammates. So this is an example of my personal teammate. Now, the flow that I'll be showing, this team that I'll be showing you is built on my platform. But the frameworks that I'm using, whether you're using knowledge base, how to curate your memory, and how to leverage different language models, to allow you to scale, is going to be the same. So the elements that I'll be talking about is going to be the same, that you can apply on your platform of choice. But obviously, I'm biased with my own platform, because this is what I use, and this is just an example of an account that I use for my customers. Okay, so I have here my content team, a team of 4 that helps me with my campaign strategy, and then that produces my blog. So blogs are quite important for LLMO or AIO or whatever you want to call it. But you need to write loads of content so that interfaces like ChatGPT or Claude can present your brands on these interfaces. And then I have my social media content machine and an image generation model that helped me produce the content for me across my channels. So how this works is my campaign strategist currently is powered by Claude Sonnet 4. And I've leveraged, I've built in a knowledge base for this strategist so that it knows my brand and my goals. So for example, last week we underperformed and dropped traffic by 10%. I could just start a conversation there. And while I'm having this conversation, I want to show you that this has web search capabilities on. Again, powered by Claude Sonnet 4. But let's say, actually, I changed my mind. I think a better model for this would be Gemini 2.5. So I can quickly switch to Gemini 2.5 if I wanted Gemini 2.5 to respond for me based on that query. Okay, so let's switch to Gemini 2.5. I'm going to say, I need a campaign for next week. And then I'm going to allow Gemini 2.5 to build that campaign for me so that then I can feed the strategy to my blog writer and my social media writer. So I've now started my campaign, and we've only started about 3 months ago. And now I've got my strategist working for me. So we've got here Gemini asking me about the performance, and asking me for data about data from my channels, including my newsletters and my social media content. And I'm going to say social media across channels. Goal is to drive traffic and conversions. I want a fun one.
We've just got another question in the chat. Sorry, just do you add new LLM models as soon as they come in?
That's correct. Yeah, as soon as they come in, we add the different LLMs. Okay, so now, and I'm going to show you the different models as well. So now I have my campaign concept, build a bot AI agents in real life. So now that my campaign is written, I've got my campaign ready. Okay, I've got my strategy ready, which is a swipe stopping playful social challenge that invites users to build their dream AI assistant. If that assistant were a real person, think Barbie meets Black Mirror meets startup meme core, which is so aligned to my brand. I'm all about fun and making AI accessible. So I like the strategy. Let's say I like the strategy. I'm going to copy this strategy or email it to myself, but I'm just going to copy it so that then I can feed it to my other lemonades, which is my blog producer. All right. So now I've got my blog producer, and I know that Sonnet 4 is actually best for writing blogs from my experience. So I'm going to just paste that strategy here. And then I am now going to have some blogs, again, to use for my website so that I can make sure that I am showing in your AI favorite AI tool, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. Okay. So Claude now has asked for clarifying questions. Blog role in campaign, drive, AIO or LLMO. Tone is fun and educational. Audience is small businesses. And timeline irrelevant, for example. Okay. So now I expect a blog, and then that blog I'm gonna feed into my social media content machine so that I can then generate up to 150 posts if I wanted to in the next 30 minutes. Right. Okay. While this is happening, because it's quite a bigger task, and Claude Sonnet 4 is quite a powerful model. It's a big model, so it does take its time. But I actually have my blog now. Okay. So it's quite a long blog that's written. And then while it's doing that, it's not done. Are there any questions while we wait for Claude Sonnet 4 to complete?
There was another one in the chat just asking how you choose which model to use for which task.
So I actually have a guide. My guiding principle is you have to test it for yourself. There are new models that come out almost every other week. However, so what you have to do if you want to learn as well and keep up is you want to test these models and see what's fit for you. But if you're telling me, Shen, I don't know, I don't have time to learn all these models, I don't have time to test. My guiding principle is Gemini 2.5 for AI builds that need to call bigger knowledge bases. If you got loads of data, for example, that you want to connect to your AI, then Gemini 2.5 and Claude Opus 4 are the best models for that, for coding as well, for loads of data. For writing, like newsletters or blogs, I actually use Claude Sonnet 4 quite a lot. And if you want, like, if it's something more of like a proposal or an outline, then it's GPT that I use. So that's my guiding principle. Okay. Now I have this blog, and then what I'm gonna do is get my social media producer to build my social content for me at the back of these blogs. But yeah, you get the picture. I just use the team to create all of my content across my my website and my social media channels. And this is one of the workflows that I have. Okay, so you're gonna ask me, Shen, how do you build this and why does it know you so well? You know, like why does it know your brands so well? Like I said, when you're building an AI teammate, it's important to pre-build in knowledge and as well as memory so that your AI can keep performing in the way that you expect to without having to prompt it all the time. So I've got here my LinkedIn posts now. And now I can just generate an image using my image generator to go with my my caption. Okay, so how do you build it? When you're building an AI teammate on LaunchLemonade, the first thing that you have to do is choose a language model. So I have here over 21 language models from the latest Claude's, GPT, Mistral, DeepSeek. And so you choose that language model that you think would be best for that AI teammate. But not to worry, you're able to test by quickly switching. So this is why it's important to kind of keep up with the language model so you can leverage the best one for that task. After choosing the language model, you can then write the job spec in the instruction box. So we call it system prompts. And when you're using, for example, ChatGPT Assistant API, you also use this kind of like system prompt that would direct or instruct the LLM on how they'll be performing moving forward, how they'll operate as your AI teammate. So for this specific AI teammate, I gave them a role. I gave them their process and flow, clear instructions, and also to check that I'm satisfied with the output. So I've told it how to behave. It's a job spec. I told it what its skills are and what I expect them to do for me. So this is where I put the job spec down. Now you tell me, Shen, I don't know how to write job specs or I don't know how to write system prompts. We've got an instruction assistant here that you can use and we'll generate that system prompt for you. So all you have to do is type in your idea, world-class social media writer, blah, 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 and give it, you know, like, what do you expect them to do? What do you want them to do as your AI teammate? All right. Now, once you've written the job spec, this is where you connect it with your knowledge base. So as you can see, I have 53 pages from my Notion that I've connected. In my Notion, I have my branding guidelines, how I'm performing, our brand goals, features, product information, product roadmap. I've also used our internal web scraper. So you can use web scrapers like Apify to connect with your AI of choice. And I've scraped my my websites, relevant websites on here, so that we're going to use that data from these web pages as as data or as knowledge for this AI. I've also uploaded so this is rich media from my LinkedIn account that I've downloaded from LinkedIn, and I've used that again as knowledge for this AI. So I've fed my AI loads of knowledge so that it understands what we're about, who we are, what our brand is, and so on and so forth. There's a question, if we are a single founder and want to mirror what you have done, building teammates, which subscription do we use on LL? Is it the embed mix? So if you're just a single founder, you just use your upgrade to personal plan at $25 to £20 a month, and you have unlimited access to all the LLMs and unlimited chats. We can book a demo after. Thank you for that question. Okay, so now I've uploaded all my information here so that my lemonade can perform accordingly. I can then give it a avatar, and then I give it superpowers. Okay, this is where this is an important step for you to decide what other capabilities your AI has. Will you allow it to search the web so it can actively get information from the web? Do you want it to analyze files like CSVs or JSON scripts? Do you want it to analyze images? Do you want it to remember your previous conversation so it can learn over time? And you've got your API keys here as well for more advanced users. If you want to deploy your AI through either make.com, N8N, or Zapier. You can also give your Lemonade or AI an email address so that you can email them and asking them for the same information that you want, so that they actually start feeling like your teammates. And then you can start running your Lemonade. Okay, so this is where you can start using it. Now, another level to level up your account, because you can have loads of teammates. You can start in one of my personal account, the one that I actually use. I have hundreds of teammates. Now, I can't be building the same knowledge base for every teammate if all they need to know is my company information, my branding guidelines, and our values and principles. So in your account, every account has a brain. So every time you build a Lemonade, it will draw information from its brain. It's got one brain. In my brain, this is where I store all of my company's information, from our mission, our vision, our values, our tone of voice, our ideal customer profiles, and so on and so forth. So every time I build a teammate, it draws out from the same brain. Now, my teammates could be an AI CFO that only knows our P&L, or a teammate could be in legal that knows a lot of our privacy policy. So they have separate knowledge bases, but they still need the same brain, which is understanding what Launch Lemonade is about. All right, I'll pause for questions. This is pure gold. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, are there any questions that I missed? Okay, so now I told you about the brain, and I've told you about I told you about the knowledge base, and I told you about the job spec. You can also, I'll also give you an example of how I use Lemonade for prospecting. So you can, let me see how I can edit this. You can get different LLMs to work together on a single flow as well. So like we mentioned earlier, each LLM has its own kind of special skills. For example, Gemini 2.5 right now is really powerful. I really like it when I have loads of knowledge base that I want to connect to my Lemonade. If I also have a make workflow, I like to use Gemini 2.5. ChatGPT I like to use for structured information. DeepSeek I actually like sometimes for content. And then Claude Sonnet 4 for kind of like more of like the thought leadership stuff or LinkedIn messaging. So in here, you can see that I have got Gemini 2.5, GPT 4.1, DeepSeek V3, and Claude Sonnet 4 working on one task. And this task basically is a prospecting tool. So so it asked me for my target industry. So I could say marketing agencies. But what is the size of their business? So a lot of us here said 2 to 10. What geography? UK. So as I give it this task, all those LLMs that you saw in the Flow Designer are now working together to give me the output that I wanted. What's the size of the context window of my system, Shan? It depends on which LLM you're using. But yeah. Okay, So now I've got my flow working there. It'll take a while because you've got 4 language models working together, but you can see that it's given me a list of agencies are already with their links. Let's see if it hallucinated. It didn't hallucinate the links. And information about the companies. So that is also part of Launch Lemonade offer for personal use. We've got team use as well. So if you're a team of 2 to 10, you can use Launch Lemonade so that you have the same lemonades, for example, and drawing from the same knowledge base. Okay. Can you copy my lemonades? We've got documentation, and yes, you can copy my lemonades for sure. So you can set up a workflow because each lemonade will have its own API ID and each account will have its own API key. So you can set up your automations using kind of like the lemonade that you build on make.com or N8N. And I'm releasing documentations on that soon. I just need to find, actually, this is the one thing that I need to find time building are the videos to cover that. Okay, so my LLMs have now put together my prospects for me, their website, information about their website, a SWOT analysis for each. And then based on the weaknesses and the frustrations that it found, it started writing my LinkedIn messages for me for each of those brands. So got my subject and my message here. Okay, so that is my prospecting flow. You do design your lemonades, but if you need help with your designs, let me know. I can share them with you. Okay. Are there any questions? Because I feel like I breezed through it, and then this is because I do this all the time. I feel like I breezed through this walkthrough. I'd love to hear from you. Are there any questions?
There's a couple new ones in the chat.
Does
Can you see them?
Lemonade have integrations with CRMs? We'll have to set it up. So you'll have to use your API. So each Lemonade has their own this area, developer mode. Connect with your assistants using APIs or via Zapier or make.com or N8N. So you'll be given your API keys and IDs and an instruction here on how to use these on your kind of like the make.com and the N8Ns and the Zapier so that you can automate actions on the workflow. We cover almost 90%, I say 95% of what you need to set up. You just have to use the Lemonade then to connect to either Google Sheets or Buffer. I have one actually. I'm building my YouTube videos for these automations. So watch this space. I'll email it to you guys. Okay, so were there any other questions? How did I get, okay, these are the questions that I actually wanted to answer, which is how did I get my first 100 users? My first 100 users were, I used Twitter for my first, let's say 10 users. I entered pitching competitions. I would find these online competitions that, oh, pitch and I'll roast your pitch kind of thing. The first one I entered, I didn't even have a pitch deck. And I just joined. And through that pitch, I got actually over 100 signups just from that competition because it was hosted by Sampar, the one that I found. But what I also did was, if you're in London, there's this event called Rare Founders, and they were my demographic. So I would go to like these events that I'd find on Eventbrite or Luma, and I'd pitch my startup, or I'd talk to all of these people that I knew were my ideal customer profile and just spoke about my launch, about my startup. What I did learn is that you want to add value rather than sell. So how do you position your conversation as something that's adding value rather than pushing someone to try your startup or your product or your services? So it's all about my what I've learned eventually, even though I was very salesy in the beginning, was, I probably still am, was that you want to listen to what their problems are, ask them about, what are your pain points right now. So if you're talking to someone who's your ideal customer profile, ask them about their pain points. Like, what is stopping you from achieving your goal right now? That is the one question that I ask all the time. And by identifying that pain point, then I drop, okay, that's interesting. I can think of ways, and this is how I've been able to, for example, address those pain points. You can have a meaningful conversation then, because it's all about their problem and how you can help them. So yeah, events has been my first 100 users, online events, pitching competitions. And one thing that I recently wrote about in my newsletter is actually building relationships with community organizers or event organizers, like NovaBook. This is exactly what I did, actually. There's I don't know if you guys know Hattie Willis, very close friends of NovaBook. If we raise, basically they used to have weekly or monthly webinars, and I volunteered for one of them as an AI expert. This was early last year, probably in January, actually. There weren't a lot of kind of like AI webinars then. I put myself out there and volunteered in these communities as speaker, and that got me the signups. That got also the initial signups for sure, is speaking, webinars like these, going to events, going to meetups, go to meetups, look for relevant events in your industry, and then just talk to people, get them to try your product and add value. That's how I got my first 100 users and my first 100 paying users. Okay, so paying users is also a better question. So I got those users on my platform. I collected their emails, I collected their numbers, but I also set up a WhatsApp community and a Luma events page. Now, setting up these pages basically allows you to grow your own community. So from someone else's community or someone else's event, you get them to join your WhatsApp group where you keep adding value. For me, it was talking about AI and teaching them how to leverage the LLMs. Growing my WhatsApp now is over almost 400 members, and my Luma page now has over 1,000 members, for example. And I just nurture them, that community, by using my newsletter and my social media. So I'm building an ecosystem around my product by nurturing people around it and giving value in the different channels that I use. Yeah, so that's how I got my first paying, my first 100 paying users, is building all these channels, adding value, and building an ecosystem around my product. Are there any other questions? I'm hosting a Get Good with AI masterclass with Ben Keane and Henry Blanchard. So Ben Keane is the founder of Rebel Books Club. He has 10,000 members in his community. And Henry is a former founder and now an educator, kind of like are in the startup space. Good Eggs. And we are doing a 6-week intensive masterclass around how to get good with AI using the different